It's 12 noon, Saturday, June 18th, and this is Dwight Weist in the WOR newsroom with 15 minutes of the latest news. First, a look at the weather. Mostly fair, warm, and less humid this afternoon, with a high near 80 degrees. Present temperature just off Times Square, 79 degrees. Humidity, 56%. The wind northwest at 13 miles per hour. The temperature-humidity index reads 74. The new U.S.-Japanese Security Treaty went into effect an hour ago, despite huge demonstrations by left-wing students trying to force the resignation of Prime Minister Kishi's government and balk ratification of the treaty. The treaty went into effect automatically at 11 o'clock. The left-wing demonstrators, flushed with victory after preventing President Eisenhower from visiting Japan, went all out in the last 24 hours to block the treaty's ratification. A crowd of 300,000 leftists swarmed around the Parliament building right up to the final moment. There was some fear that they might try to break into the building, but there was no violence. The demonstrations were not confined to Tokyo alone. In other parts of Japan, from Hokkaido in the north to Kyushu in the south, demonstrators were on the march with the largest crowd, 150,000, active in Osaka. In the face of this pressure, Kishi called his cabinet into a midnight conference to decide whether to throw in the towel or fight it out. The cabinet decided to fight, and Kishi hung on. The leftists did not take their defeat gracefully, and at this moment Kishi is a virtual prisoner in his official residence, with thousands of leftists still surrounding the building. Other thousands of leftists still are surrounding the Parliament, and the socialists and left-wing students have served notice that they will not accept the treaty. A government spokesman said later that ratification of the treaty will bring the U.S. and Japan closer together and contribute to peace and prosperity. He said the treaty is supported by the overwhelming majority of the Japanese people, and the left-wing demonstrators represented the opinion of only the minority. The treaty extends the military alliance between the United States and Japan until 1970. The United States, too, expressed gratification at Japanese parliamentary approval of the new U.S.-Japanese Mutual Security Pact. Immediately after word from Tokyo that the treaty had been ratified, the State Department issued a statement saying, "We view this as another demonstration of U.S.-Japanese friendship." Meanwhile, on Formosa, President Eisenhower is getting a warm welcome from the Chinese nationalists. And for that story, here is WOR correspondent Bruce Palmer on Formosa.
Not once in all his far-flung travels of the last 7 months has President Eisenhower received the kind of outpouring of friendship, loyalty, and affection that came from the citizens of free China today. This has been a real holiday in Taipei, the first visit of a governing American president, and the Chinese have tried to ramp it up with every possible honor for Mr. Eisenhower. First, they greeted him as he drove into the city with a joyous, colorful welcome that must have touched the president's heart, because it came from both the big and the little among Chiang Kai-shek's people. And the little ones were on hand by the thousands, black-haired, black-eyed, laughing youngsters, each one trying to give the president a personal hand wave. Perhaps 600,000 free Chinese lined the motorcade route, but their natural restraint made it an orderly crowd despite their tremendous enthusiasm. Later in the day, another 500,000 gathered in downtown Taipei for a mass rally. And again, the evidence of Chinese regard for the United States and its president was plain. When Mr. Eisenhower ripped into communist China, reaffirmed our support of Chiang Kai-shek, and pledged renewed economic assistance to Taiwan, the crowd went wild. But the president didn't have to promise anything to earn the warmth and sincerity of the Chinese acclaim. This is Bruce Palmer in Taipei. And now back to your RKO General Station.
However, Palmer told the WOR newsroom that a major policy split may be shaping up between President Eisenhower and Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek. Palmer said that Chiang is pressing the president to endorse the nationalists' plans to invade the China mainland, but President Eisenhower is cool to the idea. The two leaders conferred earlier this morning. After the meeting, White House News Secretary James Hagerty said the president had promised Chiang that the U.S. will defend the offshore island of Quemoy if a communist attack on it endangers Formosa. The president's assurance of support came only hours after Red Chinese artillery dropped 86,000 shells on Quemoy in the biggest barrage ever fired at the island. Meanwhile, Communist China has followed up its biggest barrage against the nationalist-held offshore Quemoy Islands with a new vow to liberate Formosa. The pledge came at a mass meeting in Beiping to support the so-called demonstrations of arms against the islands. The Communist New China News Agency reported details of the meeting. Soviet Premier Khrushchev has arrived in Bucharest, Romania, to attend a meeting which is drawing Red leaders from all over Europe. Unofficial sources at Moscow say the Russian leader may seize the occasion of the week-long meeting for a new propaganda assault on the West. Khrushchev's intention of visiting Romania had not been announced in advance. The meeting in Romania officially was called to adopt a new economic plan for Romania. More news after this message.